This week, we want to talk about wine and spirits. For those that you don't know, Lakeshore Beverage, the Han family, has expanded in this segment since November, adding McCormick Distilling, and then in addition, March 1st, added some of Anheuser-Busch's brands, Babe and Cutwater Spirits, Luna Vineyards, Copa di Vino, and a few others that have joined our book. And then we are expanding that book deeper and strategically as we venture into the new year. So I've got a couple slides here, about like 15 minutes, some fun things looking at planning for the on-premise, the off-premise when it comes to wine and spirits. I would really love to make this interactive. If you've got questions, comments, feedback, feel free to chime in, crack open a beverage, wine or a spirit, even a can of beer, of course, responsibly. And we will jump into this. Going future, it'll be more of a live session. How to develop cocktails, learning more deeper education about cocktails. But today, as we get planning, really wanted to make it a little bit more formal with the on and off premise for wine and spirits. Get to the next slide here. All right. So summer, it doesn't look like it today, but as we turn the page, I think it's 60 degrees. We got 80 degrees. We've got to be on our feet for every season in Chicago at all times. It's really about an opportunity. We were talking about our sales call earlier. Hit the reset button, and with that, hitting the reset button or turning the next page, it's an opportunity to refresh what you're doing in your account, refresh your food menu, refresh your floor sets for retail. I think during this epidemic that we've been in, it allows us to just rethink our food menu, what we're doing. Are we offering in the on-premise light, refreshing options? Are they family friendly for children, for adults? And at the same time, the beverage program. While during the winter months, you might have more of a hot toddy on the menu, more of Manhattan. During summer, you want a gin gimlet, you want a vodka lemonade, things of that nature. Sorry, let me let in a few more people that were in our waiting room. Just release the gates to everybody. All right. So refreshing that menu, and I was just reading some of the mayor and the governor's updates. I know we were looking at May 29th to get patios. It seems like they're rethinking that decision. I think we all got very excited. I know I did. It happens to be my birthday, actually. I was thinking about a small group of 10, of course, social distancing for a restaurant next week, just an old favorite, but it looks like we're sticking with to-go orders for the time being. But, those are just things that you want to keep informed of, as you plan your business properly. I know got a lot of people excited, but in the off-premise, it's really an opportunity to reset your floors, to put some new signage in front for your offerings, similar to what the on-premise is doing about thinking about light cocktails, light food menu items in the off-premise. Similar aspects, if you're not just an independent liquor store, if you're a section departmental, how you can cross-merchandise items, putting new displays up, really utilizing your distributor and supplier partners for POS tools they have available. There's warehouse full of items that you can definitely, work to create your displays a little bit stronger, which is exciting to reset those as well. But I think, when you look at resetting the off-premise, look at your sizes that you have available for small size formats, large size formats. Definitely opportunities to get some new things going in that aspect. And I think as we turn the page, really thinking about safety, a lot of the articles I read, they think 25, 30% of consumers are eager to get back into the on-premise, but similar to the off-premise, a lot of people have been doing a lot of delivery apps, making sure that you have a clean environment for guests and clients to get back into your space, and that you are monitoring that. I think that was something in the on-premise that they were probably rethinking. Well, what about if someone has to go to the restroom? What does that look like? They don't want people congregating in those areas, and I don't think you can tell them that you couldn't use the restroom. And just making sure that they're properly social distancing. I know a lot of our supplier partners have floor stickers for retail to remind people 6 feet apart, just what that would look like so that we re-enter this in a safe, comfortable environment and hopefully get people more comfortable. Next slide here. So spirits planning, when we look at the on-premise, what I did here was, and you'll see as we go through this, is just highlighting categories, that are leading for top cocktails, top styles, and then I plugged in a couple brands that we have at Lakeshore Beverage. So when you're building a cocktail menu, you want to have, that 2 to 3 ingredients. I think, there's definitely places that go above that as well, but where you can have a tight menu selection. I think when you look at a cocktail menu, you want to have 3 to 5 cocktails on that list. You want to have them light, you want to have them refreshing, price fair. I think having them created by your staff is key. Creates a little sense of ownership that, James, who bartends on, 4 days a week, created this. It's been a big hit, whatever it may be. And then offering non-alcoholic items as well. I've seen on a lot of menus whether people are trying to live a healthier lifestyle, maybe they're not able to consume alcohol. I've seen 1 to 2 non-alcoholic cocktails pop on a menu, and they've been delicious. Maybe someone just doesn't feel like having an alcoholic option, so it's great to have that opportunity. So when you look at the menu, vodka's definitely the winner on the menu. What can you do with vodka? Fresh lemonade this time of the season, John Daly's, Bloody Mary for brunch. There's a lot of fun spin-offs you could do with Bloody Mary. We happen to have Cutwater Spirits based out of San Diego. Fantastic Bloody Mary mixed option that could be there as well. And Moscow Mule. We have a ginger beer for non-alcoholic mixer that I threw the JPEG on here as well. All these options, for what we have are available on our website as well. And when we dive into rum, Mojito is always amazing with fresh, fresh mint in there, a daiquiri, a gimlet when we get into gin, mint juleps, and a margarita is always the king. I threw a couple of our options there, but Broker's Gin is by McCormick Distilling. It's the only brand that they've purchased in that book, but it's made in a pot still, 200-year-old pot still recipe. 10 botanicals. It's not as juniper forward as some people don't want that feeling there. Sorry, we got someone else in the waiting. Let me get them here. And I think that it's an awesome option, priced right. It won Best Gin Award in 2010, so 10 years ago. 97 points. When you think about Broker's Gin, some other players that are in that competitive space, you have Tanqueray, you have Bombay Sapphire, you have Beefeater. So there's something to think about as you're building out your cocktail menu. Plus, I think it's fun to retool that list as you get going. If something's popular, maybe you started with 10 cocktails. Maybe you want to trim it back to 5. What's great is you can always redevelop that. Wine planning. I think when you look at wine, you want to have 5 to 7 by the glass options, Prosecco, of course, champagne potentially. You want to see what your usage is. You don't want to be wasting champagne at the end of the night. Rosé, of course, Provence from France is a great option. New World in California is amazing. Sauvignon Blanc, Marble New Zealand is one of my personal favorites. Chardonnay, looking at California, we have the Luna Vineyards. They're from California. Luna Vineyards, we represent. They're celebrating 25 years this year. Some fantastic options there. I think the Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir from Santa Rita Hills is outstanding. Pinot Grigio, usually from Italy, is just where this hails from to be the most popular. Cab, having a Napa Cab on there is huge. Stag's Leap is a popular area. And then red blends. Red blends, a lot of people wonder, what is a red blend? Merlot sometimes doesn't get as much of the love. I didn't have that on here as by the glass, but a red blend is predominantly based Merlot. And what does a red blend mean? It could be 3 varietals. It could be 5 varietals, what you have there. So I threw up on the screen just a couple offerings that we have in that respect. I touched on Luna Vineyards from the Chardonnay to the Pinot. And Lunatic is a label they do, and that is exactly that. It's a red blend. It's a screw top. easy to serve. I think when you're looking at a wine planning menu, the rule of thumb is you want to pay for a bottle what your glass price is. So what does that mean? If you're paying $9, you want to sell it for $9 on that list, and you're getting, roughly 5 glasses out of that pour with that. We do have another unique offering when you look at wine. We have the Babe selection, for canned wine, for rosé, sparkling Pinot Grigio, sparkling red, but we also have Copa di Vino. That's a single serve option that you can see there in the lower right. I think as people look at the on-premise on that respect, this could be a single serve. It could be opened at your table. I think people might could alleviate some concerns for multi-touch points. To-go business in the on-premise. This has been a huge opportunity, not only for accounts to gain more revenue right now, to burn through some inventory, but also see what's working. I think for Lakeshore Beverage, we've seen this as an opportunity for canned cocktails, whether it's canned cocktails, ready to drinks, RTDs, and then canned wine. Huge uptick in this. I think that this will continue to extend. I think it allows accounts to get creative. Right now, the way it looks is 25% occupancy when we reopen the end of June. Well, what do you do with the rest of your space that you have in your restaurant? Well, why not create like a little pop-up market, if you will, that's to go, where you can offer simple items, offer a tight selection, from beer, from wine, from ready-to-drink cocktails, because it's permissible. But maybe even retool some food options. I think that people have been getting creative doing meals at home, which has been great. But I think at the same time, they want to venture out a little bit. So why not on the weekends? Maybe you didn't serve brunch, but maybe you do offer brunch options where you can get out. Maybe you have a hot dog stand for kids as well, because you want to be family friendly. But I think creating that cafe setup, the walk-up, is a huge opportunity. And plus, even researching patio expansion options. I know the city of Chicago is looking at potentially closing some streets. I know there's been a couple of suburb communities that are looking at it as well, but also an opportunity to create to-go kits. It's something our team's working on right now for Father's Day. As we're about to approach Memorial Day, there's still time, for you to develop something, develop a to-go kit for 2 or for 4. For cocktails, for food. I saw on Twitter today just a lot of barbecue kits to go where you can get 10 burgers, 10 buns, some potato chip sides, and then maybe, a 4-pack of some IPA beer, 4-pack of some Moscow Mule ready to drinks, and then maybe 4 canned wine as well. So it's just a great opportunity to elevate your experience for your consumers and to go as well. So exciting. I think that this is a space that's not going to go away. And it's okay to research what other accounts are doing. There's not a roadmap or a business plan for this. I think everyone's figuring it out together. It's not to say the first person out there had the best idea. I think, everyone's learning from each other on how they get creative with this. So truly a great opportunity to elevate the experience for your guests, to stay relevant, and to gain revenue. I think that's just at the end of the day, we want to keep employees on board and gaining revenue in new spaces that maybe we didn't before. And as I mentioned, feel free to jump in the chat box. If you got question, commentary, we'd love to be engaging. It's not like we have to wait till the end to discuss anything, and I hope some people are enjoying a beverage at the same time. So profitability, business math, obviously this isn't a hobby. Someone once said, an employer works for this is not a hobby. We're here to make profit, revenue, and hopefully have a little bit of fun with it too. But knowing your margins, GP, gross profit, for on-premise, for off-premise, really make sure you're reviewing your invoices, checking in product, reviewing inventory, understand what the bottle cost is versus the case deals. There's a huge savings out there, and that's a profit driver. And when I say that, you might be able to save, 30% on a bottle of spirits, whether you order it by the case or by the bottle. Does that spirit come in a 6-bottle case? Does it come in a 12-bottle case? Really important to look at that. And I think is specifically the on-premise as it opens, I think that you're going to see less items behind the back bar, which allows you to arm up with 3 gins maybe, one being your house well, one being a premium, and then one that's in your cocktail menu, excuse me. And that allows you to get a better case break on your deal, which then allows you better profit driving. And really, at the end of the day, it's less inventory management for what you're doing in terms of back of the house. And then you're not paying a split case charge there. But definitely be smart. I think at the end of the day, we're a company that goes by the rules. And we play by the rules. There's no, easy road to get rich, if you will. And with that, build relationships with your sales representative. They work with accounts up and down the street for off-premise. Utilize them as a consultant. What's working in other off-premise accounts, independent retail or chain? What's working in your other on-premise accounts? What learnings can you take from that? Instead of just, texting over your order, I think what's exciting about our business is we have a lot of in-person meetings with people, of course, socially distancing, of course, and also right now, we're in a different climate, but have a conversation of how we can build our business together. Of course, we want to promote our products. We'd love to work with you on them. But similar to this presentation, I'm highlighting the full category. It doesn't mean we have every brand that's being discussed here, but talking about the category as a whole, then highlighting where we can to that respect. But I think it's about that relationship that you have with your distributor and your supplier, because at the end of the day, you can allow more tools to work with brands and highlight POS tools that are available too. We were on a call this morning for the on-premise redeploying in terms of umbrellas and buckets. Similar for the off-premise as well, display tools that could be available for brands that you're looking to work with. So again, just comes full circle with that business math. As we talked about hitting the reset button, let's hit the reset button in the off-premise. What does that look like? I do a lot of reading in the morning as you get the day going, and of course we get our updates throughout the day. But something that's been winning is the ready to drink, RTDs. Booze is winning the stay-at-home drinking game. And what does that look like? That's hard seltzers, that's canned wines. They were already on the upswing, but really the silent assassin, if you will, was the ready to drink premixed cocktails. As I touched on with Cutwater and Fling, we've got 2 great options there with expanded SKUs for opportunities, from whiskey mules to ginger cucumber with Fling. When we look at Cutwater, vodka sodas, vodka sodas are definitely leading that charge. And why are they? They're simple. They're 99 calories. They're light. They're refreshing. What do we have in that space? We've got grapefruit. We've got lime. We've got cucumber. So there's some fun options there. But in retail, utilize the point of sale that's available. This is a huge investment that our suppliers and brands build in this segment to build a showroom, if you will, inside your showroom. So talk with your sales rep, see what's available. And definitely, you want to train your team what's available. I just touched on some buzzwords there. Everyone's trying to live a healthy lifestyle, that below 100 calorie mark in some cases. And I just touched on that with Cutwater that hits there. I think with a lot of the seltzers, you see that too. With beer, you see that with Michelob Ultra, pushing that low calorie amount. And it's an opportunity in retail to upsell. If you're confident in what you're selling, you're going to sell more. Instead of someone walking out of your account with 1 bottle of wine, maybe they got 2 bottles of wine. Instead of them getting an $8.99 bottle of wine, maybe you intelligently spoke about Santa Rita Hills and Pinot Noir, and here's Luna Vineyard. It's a perfect opportunity. You just sold them, a $35 bottle of wine, a $30 bottle of wine. Build a customer database. I think at the same time, this is allowing us, consumer research has been up. So they're on your website, they're on your Instagram, they're signing up. It allows you to reach out to them. Similar with Lakeshore Beverage, we're building our platform for retail portal so that you can order online with us, so that you can get updates when there's a power outage or there's a delivery update because the weather's changed. We can reach out to you. So with that note, make sure you are signing up with us, and It allows us to communicate more effectively. With that, you could create themed selling opportunities. You could have a wine festival. You could have a whiskey festival, a bourbon festival, holiday bubbles. As we talked about, Chris, our director of training, had summer beers. You could have a beer festival. So it allows you in retail constantly to talk to your client base, customer base, continually about things that you're doing in your store. And I think at the same time, you should build a calendar of things that you want to do in your store based on seasons. You can Google, what's coming up in June. There's National Gin Day. There's National Rosé Day. So it's selling opportunities for you to speak to your consumers to give them, not an excuse, but a reason to stop in your stores. They're getting creative with their stay-at-home food culinary options, to do options for their beverage pairing as well. And I think, as you look at your store, there's a lot of online delivery services. What's great about those that I've even learned more recently is that they pull from your store. So making sure that you're signed up to be a Drizzly store, what that looks like, just using, Drizzly as an option, but there's obviously several out there. And a lot of our supplier partners utilize those services, specifically, Cutwater and Babe. So those stores, while the consumer's not coming in, they're ordering from your store, from your inventory, which is great because it promotes that local support message. So make sure that you're signed up with them. It's just another opportunity to gain more revenue in additional aspects. And I think with online ordering, there's an opportunity for retail to increase your check average as well. Let's pause for a minute there. Definitely done all the talking here, of course. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to chime in. But the reset button, Ted, our director of sales, mentioned that, for the on-premise this morning in a call that we had, it's an opportunity to hit the reset button, and we haven't had an opportunity, not that we're looking for opportunities like this, but let's take advantage of the reset button to refresh our storefronts. This is a showroom. I think that foot traffic is definitely going to be driving with weather changing. People are looking to properly social distance outside. Set up something in front of your retail store that drives people in. Have fun with the festive display out there. So just an opportunity to have fun with things here. As I showed you that quote with RTDs and the segment driving, I wanted to highlight a couple of things here. And these are great opportunities that you can have in store with signs like this or similar, or in your window as well. As I'll touch on here, our company, Lakeshore Beverage, has a terrific graphics department that can turn around signage within a week, from banners, to items like this as well too. So I wanted to highlight a couple SKUs, of course, self plug here, but as I mentioned on Cutwater, award-winning distillery. These brands come from an actual brand, an actual distillery, and over 749 awards thus far. So as you can see, I highlighted a couple, from the vodka soda. The tequila margarita is one of my favorites, but the vodka soda lime, I think, is outstanding. And Fling, terrific brand that the Boulevard Brewing does. I think the gin cucumber cocktail is outstanding, and the whiskey mule is seeing a lot of attention. And Babe, the Babe Rosé, Babe Grigio, each can is the equivalent of 2 glasses of wine. So just a fun, unique way to promote what's inside the can. Because a lot of people wonder, like, even with wine, is it deemed acceptable that wine is in a screw cap instead of a cork? Is wine acceptable in a can? Of course it is. To be honest, there's been a lot of news with wine screw caps that it's totally fine. It doesn't mean it's less expensive. You're not going to have a corked bottle of wine with it. It's actually the way a lot of wineries are moving with that. But with Babe here, it shows you it's simple. You're getting a 12 ABV, which is what most wines are. You're in that 12 to 14% range, and you're getting 2 glasses out of a can. And I think as we, get back to the on-premise open, you can crack open a can, a waiter or waitress can bring it to your table, crack it open right there. we don't know how many times a waiter or waitress will be able to go to a table. Maybe you only get 3 opportunities, and I'm just speaking, from the hip here. Is it the opening order? Is it to check on you and then the check because they want to limit interaction? So you might want to have a bucket of 6 or 12 of these, and then you can feel safe opening them up and you can self-consume. So just things to think about. Like I said, it's new news for us as it is for if the patios will be able to reopen, as we saw about an hour ago that Mayor Lightfoot for Chicago, it doesn't feel we're ready yet. So we'll see what that looks like. But just wanted to highlight some award-winning, 0 carbs, 0 sugar for Cutwater. So just some brands that we have in our book. Social media, I love it. It's one of those things it's a love-hate. What does it mean? We're up on screen time. I was Googling some facts as I was putting this presentation together. It skews higher with millennials, 5.4 hours a day. I think it's definitely up now because people were at home, we're watching movies. But what does that mean for retailers, for the on and off premise? Make sure your information's up to date and current. I would Google how many people have Googled themselves. I'm sure everyone has. But Google your store, your restaurant. Make sure your address is up to date. Make sure hours are up to date. I did a previous research study on this in a role I was in before. And, your hours of operations weren't updated. I know for sure they aren't right now for to-go business or retailers because we've shrunk our hours. Not that we're shooting to the dry cleaner as often right now, but, my dry cleaner personally is normally open, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. I know for sure they're only open 9 to 3, but I don't think that their hours are updated on Google. So, make sure your hours are up to date. Make sure, any specials you're offering on brands for the weekend or getting ahead of them, they're updated for the on or off premise, and same with the menu. When you look at social media from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook, make sure you're driving teasing information. I think when you look at it, again, you can take a learning from what someone else is doing in the market, drive, teasing information, like a behind the scenes, if you will. Oh, we're up to something. It could be a photo of the chef in the kitchen. It could be a photo of, a Lakeshore Beverage delivery person bringing in, a truckload of new items. Like, oh, what's coming in? We've got some hot new inventory of a new spirit that's coming in that wasn't available before, or a new wine vintage that's just being released. So there's fun, simple, unique ways to drive teasing information that gets people hungry for, oh, what are they up to over there? So just something to think about, food for thought. And how do you do that? Research. I look at it a couple of ways. I'm on Snapchat, but I don't really use it. I use Facebook for friends, updates. I use Twitter for my news, and then Instagram, it's more so friends, but news as well. But with Twitter, for those of you who don't know, you can get on a hashtag. So if you search a hashtag, say summer, everything summer related is going to come up. Memorial Day weekend, everything's going to come up. But you could look at vodka lemonade and see what everyone's posted for vodka lemonade. You could look at Sauvignon Blanc and same thing, patios, same things. So just a way to look at that. Eater's a great resource for what's happening, who they're highlighting. The Mark Brown is a newsletter I get every morning, I think at 4 a.m. It's in my email. So when I'm getting up at, 5:36, or, I'm sure we all wake up earlier some days than we want, you got that email in there. So what is the Mark Brown? It's information on our industry, from restaurants, from wine, spirits, beer, what's happening, good or bad. Same thing with the Shake-In. I would definitely Google those, and you could get those emails. They're two of the most important that our industry always relates to. So I definitely suggest getting on those lines that you can. Crane Chicago Business is another great one that I Google. I mean, sometimes Trib, they're great as well too. CS Magazine, Michigan Avenue Magazine, Time Out. So research is key. We definitely want to be out there learning what the trends are, seeing what other states are doing. We're, I think, the 4th state that's still on a lockdown. How do I know that? I was doing some research, so what is, Nashville doing, Tennessee, because they're closer to being open, or what's going on in Florida because they're open more than Illinois is, and we can take learnings for on and off premise to get ahead of that, and really make sure your accounts are up to date for on and off premise, for information you're putting out here. I talked about graphic capabilities. It's funny because I was researching this, how, we did a huge surge of to-go business. Well, now we got to do a huge surge of welcome back. We have to welcome everybody back. So putting welcome back signs up to let them know that we are open, and maybe drive teasing information of, you're having canned cocktails in the off-premise for $9.99 to go, or maybe in the on-premise you're doing them for an $8 feature. Obviously see what's driving your revenue, see what new opportunities you want to drive people to get them in. But our company, I think one of the fastest in the distributor side of it, things that we can offer for signage. Of course, compliance is a big thing. Check with our sales rep what we're able to do. But it's a service that we're able to offer. Obviously we want to service you from brands you work with, from wine and spirits and beer and seltzers and non-alcoholic. Oh, someone's late to the meeting. We'll let them in. But as I mentioned, POS tools, chalkboards, umbrellas, talk to your sales rep. Another resource that we want to offer, but I truly think the welcome back, I haven't, my phone should be on mute. It's my mom calling. She's allowed to, she is the one that I allow, that you're allowed to allow people in your phone that violates that. I guess, you can set that up. So my mom is someone that is allowed to do that. Anyway, back to focus. But I think welcome back, that's going to be, hey, it's something new. We haven't had to welcome back people on premise, before. So, have fun with it, create a cool graphic, talk to our team about welcome back signage. I bet Wade and the team has wrote that one down. But I think people are excited to get back. I know I am, but getting back to it in a safe way as well. So, point of sale. So next here. So my final slide here, if anyone wants to jump in, talk, have a dialogue, a conversation, definitely stay in touch with us. Add us on our social media, go to our website, get signed up with us, whether it's for FinTech, for our newsletter. And for those who don't know, FinTech, it's just a way to pay online. So you don't have to worry about an invoice each week. A little plug there for us. But, it's just a great way to also have social distancing with our delivery team, who has been great being at the front line of this. So thank you to our delivery team that's out there, for being one of those in the industry that is essential worker.